Have you ever walked away from a conversation wondering what really just happened? Or found yourself in a new environment wishing you could instantly read the room? What if you could unlock the hidden language of human behavior, understanding unspoken emotions and true intentions just by observing? Today, we're giving you the blueprint. Join us as we transform you into an inner detective, equipping you with the precise tools to master the art of observation. Not only will you gain profound wisdom and navigate social dynamics with newfound confidence, but you'll also supercharge your English comprehension and fluency by mastering the nuances of real-world communication. And with every new insight and every complex phrase you grasp in this story, remember to be truly proud of that progress. You are actively boosting your English fluency. Get ready to see the world and your English skills in an entirely new light. Let's begin. This isn't just about reading minds, it's about seeing the truth in plain sight. Chapter 1: The Invisible World: Why Observation is Your Superpower. Welcome to a journey into the unseen, a deep dive into the silent language that surrounds us every single day. Most people walk through life merely seeing, but very few truly observe. What's the difference? Imagine standing in a bustling coffee shop. You see people ordering, chatting, sipping their drinks. But the true observer, your inner detective, notices the slight tremor in a barista's hand indicating stress, the fleeting glance a couple exchanges that speaks volumes about their unspoken tension, or the way a business person unconsciously taps their foot, revealing impatience. These aren't just details, they are clues to an invisible world of human behavior, intentions, and emotions. Mastering this art of observation isn't just about becoming socially adept. It's about unlocking a profound level of wisdom, enhancing your critical thinking, and, yes, dramatically improving your English skills in the most natural way possible. Why is observation your superpower? Because every human interaction, every silent gesture, every subtly chosen word is a piece of a larger puzzle. Most of us are like casual sightseers, skimming the surface of conversations and social situations. We hear words, we see faces, but we often miss the symphony of nonverbal cues, the unspoken narratives that truly drive human connection and decision-making. Think about it. Have you ever felt confused by someone's reaction despite their words saying one thing? Have you ever missed a subtle warning sign in a negotiation or misunderstood a nuance in an English conversation that led to an awkward moment? That's because you were seeing, not observing. What if I told you that by simply retraining your eyes and ears, you could unlock secrets about people that even their closest friends might not know? The power to truly understand human behavior isn't some innate gift for a select few. It's a skill, and it's waiting for you to unleash your inner detective. Ready to find out how? Consider a classic everyday scenario. Sarah, a student, is talking to her English tutor. She says, "Yes, I understand," but her eyes dart away and she keeps fiddling with her pen. A casual observer hears the words and moves on. Your inner detective, however, spots the discrepancy. The words say yes, but the nonverbal cues scream uncertainty or discomfort. This simple observation isn't just about Sarah's true understanding. It's a clue that helps you, as an English learner, to then ask a clarifying question. Could you explain it back to me in your own words? A perfect opportunity to practice active listening and conversational English. This is where observation becomes your superpower for learning. The benefits of active observation cascade into every facet of your life. In your professional life, you'll become a sharper negotiator, an empathetic leader, and a more effective communicator. Imagine noticing a client's slight frown when you mention a price point, even if they nod politely. That's a cue to adjust your approach. In your personal relationships, you'll build deeper connections, understand unspoken needs, and navigate conflicts with greater wisdom. Perhaps your friend's usual vibrant energy is subtly dimmed, even if they claim they're fine. Your observation allows you to offer genuine support. And crucially for you, the English learner, it's an unparalleled tool. When you observe how native speakers use language in real time, their intonation, their subtle pauses, the way their body language reinforces or contradicts their words, you absorb English far more naturally and deeply than any textbook can teach. Speaking of natural English acquisition, have you ever considered the shadowing method? It's incredible for improving your fluency and confidence by mimicking native speakers. If you want to take your English speaking to the next level, make sure to check out our 30-day Confidence Through Shadowing series after this video. It's linked in the description below. Most people are, regrettably, passive participants in the grand play of human interaction. They react, they respond, but they rarely proactively gather the rich, granular data that is constantly being broadcast by everyone around them. This isn't laziness. It's often a lack of awareness, a misunderstanding of what to look for, and an underestimation of how much information is truly available if you just pay attention. Think of Sherlock Holmes not as a fictional genius, but as an embodiment of hyper-observation. He doesn't just solve crimes, he reads people and environments with an almost uncanny precision. We're going to equip you with the mental tools to become your own version of that master observer, your own inner detective. Let's illustrate with another everyday example. You're at a job interview, conducting it in English. The candidate is verbally confident, answering all questions smoothly. But as you ask about their past experiences, you notice they avoid eye contact for a fraction of a second, and their hand briefly touches their nose. An untrained eye might miss this. Your inner detective, armed with knowledge, flags this as a potential deception cue, or at least a sign of discomfort. This single observation prompts you to delve deeper, to rephrase the question, or to ask for specific examples, allowing you to get to the truth and practice your nuanced English questioning skills. This active observation helps you distinguish between fluent answers and truthful answers, a critical skill in both life and language learning. By dissecting these real-life scenarios, you're not just learning theory, you're actively practicing to recognize behavioral patterns and interpret them, sharpening your English listening and critical thinking in real time. Stay tuned to discover the precise elements you need to focus on. The journey to becoming a master observer, your inner detective, begins with a fundamental shift in perspective. It's about moving from consuming information passively to actively seeking it out, from reacting to analyzing, from merely existing in a social space to consciously engaging with it. This involves training your mind to process not just the explicit verbal messages, but also the implicit, nonverbal signals, the nuances of body language, the subtle shifts in tone, the unspoken patterns of behavior. It's about building a mental library of human tendencies, recognizing deviations from the norm, and understanding what those deviations might signify. For English learners, this is gold. Why? Because language is deeply intertwined with context, emotion, and culture. Understanding these nonverbal cues gives you a holistic understanding of what is being communicated, filling in the gaps that words alone might leave. Consider the classic poker face. A novice player sees a calm expression. An expert observer, their inner detective fully engaged, notices the almost imperceptible micro-expression of anger that flashes across the face for a tenth of a second, or the slightly increased pulse visible in the neck. These tiny clues reveal the true hand, regardless of the outward facade. In a casual English conversation, you might hear someone say, "I'm fine," but their shoulders are slumped and their voice lacks energy. Your inner detective notes the conflict, understands the true message, and allows you to respond with genuine empathy, perhaps by saying, "You don't sound fine. Is everything all right?" This demonstrates not just good English, but genuine understanding. If you're finding these insights valuable for both your personal growth and English learning, hit the bell icon after subscribing. That way, you won't miss any of our upcoming lessons on mastering human behavior and language. This chapter serves as your initial briefing, setting the stage for the powerful transformation you're about to undergo. We're not just going to tell you what to observe, we're going to teach you how to observe, equipping you with the fundamental tools of your inner detective. We'll delve into the specific elements to look for, the techniques to refine your perception, and the wisdom to interpret what you see ethically and effectively. Get ready to peel back the layers of everyday interactions and discover the incredible richness of information that lies hidden in plain sight. This is your first step into the invisible world and towards becoming a wiser, more perceptive, and more confident English speaker. The journey towards mastering human behavior and unlocking unparalleled wisdom begins now. Chapter 2: The Core Elements. What to look for. In our journey to transform you into an astute inner detective, we've established that true observation goes far beyond mere seeing. It's about consciously engaging with the hidden data streams that humans constantly broadcast. Now, let's equip you with your first set of essential tools, the magnifying glass and notepad for your mental toolkit. To truly observe anyone, you need to know what to look for. Human behavior, in its vast complexity, can be broken down into 3 core interconnected elements: body language, tone of voice, and word choice. These are the fundamental layers of communication, and by dissecting them, you unlock a universe of insight. Think of communication not as a simple spoken sentence, but as a multi-layered cake. The words are just the top frosting, what we consciously choose to present. But beneath that, there are rich, flavorful layers of how those words are delivered, tone, and the entire structure of nonverbal signals, body language, that often reveal the real ingredients. Researchers suggest that over 70% of human communication is nonverbal, meaning what people say is often far less important than how they say it and what their body shows. This is where your inner detective begins its critical work. Element 1: Body language, the unspoken truth. This is often the richest vein for your inner detective. Body language encompasses everything from someone's posture and gestures to their facial expressions and minute eye movements. It's the physical manifestation of internal states, often involuntary and therefore highly revealing. For instance, notice someone who says, "I'm perfectly calm," but their shoulders are hunched, their fingers are drumming on the table, and their eyes are darting around the room. The spoken words directly contradict the physical signals. Your inner detective immediately flags this discrepancy. Consider a common scenario. A colleague, let's call her Jane, is pitching a new project idea in an English meeting. She articulates her points clearly, using strong vocabulary. However, you, the keen observer, notice a subtle yet persistent tightness around her lips whenever a challenging question is posed. Her shoulders also seem slightly tensed, and her gaze occasionally drifts to the clock. While her words project confidence, her body language subtly hints at underlying anxiety or perhaps a lack of complete conviction in certain aspects of her proposal. How often do you think people's bodies betray their true feelings, even when their words are carefully chosen? And how might recognizing this improve your understanding of English speakers? For English learners, understanding body language is incredibly powerful. Imagine you're in a conversation with a native speaker. They say, "Oh, that's interesting," but their eyes are glazing over and their posture has shifted away from you. This is a crucial nonverbal cue that they might be bored or disengaged, despite their polite words. Recognizing this allows you to quickly pivot the conversation, perhaps asking a direct question to re-engage them, or simply transitioning to a new topic. This saves you from misinterpreting their polite response as genuine interest and allows you to practice your adaptive English communication skills. Your inner detective is constantly cross-referencing verbal and nonverbal data. Element 2. Tone of voice, the music of meaning. Beyond the literal words, how something is said, the paraverbal communication, carries immense weight. Tone of voice includes elements like pitch, how high or low, volume, how loud or soft, speed, how fast or slow, rhythm, pauses, and inflection, the rise and fall of the voice. These elements add emotional color and nuance to even the simplest phrases. Take the phrase, "I'm fine." Said with a bright, energetic tone, it conveys well-being. But whispered with a low, flat, hesitant tone, it screams worry or sadness. Your inner detective listens for these subtle shifts in the music of their voice. Let's use a story. Mark is telling his boss, in English, "Yes, I can definitely finish the report by Friday." His words are assertive, but if your inner detective catches a slight, almost imperceptible tremor in his voice or an unusual hesitation before definitely, it suggests an underlying doubt or perhaps that he's overcommitting. This paralinguistic clue is a vital piece of the puzzle. It tells you that his confidence might be a facade. Are you finding these distinctions between words, body language, and tone fascinating? If so, hit the like button and leave a comment sharing a time when someone's tone told you more than their words. For English learners, mastering tone is paramount. Sarcasm, for instance, is almost entirely conveyed through tone. "Oh, that was brilliant," can be a genuine compliment or a cutting insult, depending entirely on the speaker's vocal inflection. Similarly, understanding if someone is genuinely enthusiastic, hesitant, or merely being polite often comes down to their tone. Practicing listening to different tones helps you not only understand what is truly meant, but also to use tone effectively in your own English speech, making your communication more natural and impactful. This is why watching movies and TV shows without subtitles, focusing purely on how words are delivered, can be so beneficial. Element 3. Word choice, the conscious and unconscious cues in language. While words are the most direct form of communication, the specific words chosen, and even the ones not chosen, can reveal a great deal. This goes beyond just understanding vocabulary. Your inner detective pays attention to fillers, words like like, these can indicate hesitation, thinking time, or nervousness. Qualifiers, phrases like kind of, sort of, maybe, I guess, these often soften statements or reveal a lack of certainty or commitment. Evasiveness or vagueness, when someone avoids direct answers, uses overly general terms, or shifts topics. Repetition, when a specific word or phrase is repeated, it might indicate an underlying obsession, nervousness, or an attempt to emphasize something. Formal versus informal language. Does their language fit the context? A sudden shift in formality might be a red flag. Imagine Emily, a native English speaker, explaining a complex topic. She repeatedly uses and like as fillers, and often says it's kinda like when describing something she should be confident about. While her words explain the concept, her word choice suggests a lack of confidence, or perhaps she's still processing the information herself. Your inner detective notes these linguistic patterns, which can be just as revealing as a nervous twitch. This observation allows you to tailor your response, perhaps by offering reassurance or asking if she'd like to elaborate further. By paying close attention to these seemingly small linguistic details, you're not just observing human behavior, you're also significantly boosting your active English vocabulary and improving your understanding of conversational English nuances. Ready for more advanced techniques? For English learners, this is an advanced layer of comprehension. Recognizing fillers in spoken English helps you understand natural speech rhythms and allows you to distinguish between fluency and genuine thought processing. Noticing qualifiers can help you gauge a speaker's true commitment or certainty. This critical analysis of word choice refines your pragmatic understanding of English, how language is used in real-world contexts beyond its literal dictionary definition. It helps you understand implied meanings, underlying attitudes, and even potential hidden agendas. The interplay of elements, where the magic happens. The true power of your inner detective emerges when these three elements, body language, tone of voice, and word choice, are analyzed together. Very rarely does a single clue tell the whole story. It's the discrepancies between them that offer the most profound insights. Someone might say, "I'm excited about this opportunity," word choice, but their voice is flat and monotone, tone of voice, and their arms are crossed, body language. This contradiction is a giant red flag. It indicates that their verbal message is likely untrue or at least highly exaggerated. Your inner detective thrives on these conflicts, using them to peel back layers of superficial communication and uncover the underlying reality. Consider a delicate negotiation scenario. Your English counterpart states, "We are very flexible on the terms," word choice, but you notice their voice pitch is slightly higher than usual when they say "flexible," tone of voice, and they subtly lean away from the table, crossing their legs, body language. These incongruities suggest that their flexibility might be limited, or that they are internally resisting the very idea. This integrated observation empowers you to push a little harder on those flexible terms, or to explore alternative solutions that might better suit their unspoken needs. This deep dive into communication elements is just the beginning. If you're enjoying learning to unravel human behavior and boost your English, please share this video with a friend who might benefit too. Let's build a community of wise observers. In essence, these three core elements are the foundational pillars of observation. By systematically training your awareness to register details in body language, nuances in tone of voice, and subtleties in word choice, you are building a powerful new lens through which to view the world. You are moving from merely reacting to surface-level interactions to truly understanding the deeper, often hidden motivations and emotions that drive human behavior. This comprehensive understanding isn't about judgment, it's about wisdom, empathy, and effective communication. And for you, the English learner, it's about unlocking a level of fluency and cultural understanding that goes far beyond grammar rules and vocabulary lists. It's about speaking and understanding English with true nuance and confidence in any real-world setting. Get ready, your inner detective is just getting started. Chapter 3: Decoding Nonverbal Cues, the Unspoken Language. As your inner detective begins to sharpen its focus, we move beyond the general observations of body language, tone, and word choice, and delve into the fascinating, intricate world of nonverbal cues. This is the unspoken language, often more honest and revealing than any words, broadcasting intentions, emotions, and thoughts in a continuous stream. Mastering this decoding process is where true observational wisdom flourishes, allowing you to read between the lines even when those lines are invisible. And for English learners, this is where you gain an unparalleled edge, understanding context and emotion that no dictionary can provide. First, let's talk about micro-expressions, the flashes of truth.
Imagine a fleeting glimpse of a genuine emotion, a tiny, involuntary facial movement that lasts less than half a second. These are microexpressions, scientifically identified by pioneering researchers like Dr. Paul Ekman. They are universal, brief, and incredibly hard to fake or suppress. While a person might consciously control their words or even their posture, their primal emotions often betray themselves in these instantaneous facial flashes. There are 7 universal microexpressions: anger, disgust, fear, happiness, sadness, surprise, and contempt. Your inner detective needs to train itself to catch these lightning-fast signals. Consider this scenario. You're negotiating a significant deal in English with a potential business partner, Mr. Chen. He maintains a polite, confident smile as he says, "We are in complete agreement on the terms." But for a split second, you, the sharp observer, catch a flicker, a tightening of the corners of his lips, a slight wrinkle in his nose, hinting at a micro-expression of contempt or disgust. This fleeting signal contradicts his verbal assurance. It suggests he might feel he's getting the raw end of the deal, or perhaps he disapproves of a subtle detail. This observation, though instant, changes your approach. Instead of simply closing, you might probe gently. Is there anything you feel we haven't fully addressed? For English learners, recognizing these allows you to understand unspoken reservations, helping you navigate sensitive conversations where words might be misleading. How many times do you think you've missed these crucial split-second clues in daily conversations? And what kind of powerful insights could you gain by training your eyes to catch them? Next, let's focus on eye contact, the windows to the soul. The way someone uses their eyes is incredibly telling, though heavily influenced by culture. In Western cultures, direct eye contact generally conveys honesty, confidence, and engagement. A lack of eye contact might indicate discomfort, shyness, or even deception. But beware, in some East Asian cultures, prolonged direct eye contact with an elder or superior can be seen as disrespectful. Your inner detective must understand these nuances. Imagine you're having an English conversation with a new acquaintance, Alex. He's speaking fluently, sharing interesting stories. You notice his pupils are slightly dilated whenever he talks about his passions, signaling genuine excitement and interest. But when you bring up a sensitive topic, his gaze frequently shifts downwards or to the side, breaking eye contact. This isn't necessarily a sign of dishonesty, but it's a strong indicator of discomfort or introspection. This observation tells your inner detective to either change the topic or approach it more gently, allowing you to maintain rapport and practice empathetic English communication.
This deep dive into nonverbal cues is just scratching the surface of human behavior. If you're finding this fascinating and want to master your English listening skills even further, hit the bell icon and subscribe to our channel for more invaluable insights. Then there are gestures, the silent language of movement. Gestures are purposeful or unconscious movements of the body that convey meaning. Your inner detective can categorize them. Illustrators, gestures that accompany and emphasize speech, like showing the size of something with your hands. Emblems, gestures with direct, widely understood verbal translations, like a thumbs up for approval or a shrug for "I don't know." Adapters or self-soothers, unconscious, often repetitive movements that help manage stress or discomfort, such as rubbing one's neck, fiddling with jewelry, or adjusting clothing. These are often strong indicators of nervousness or anxiety. Regulators, gestures that control the flow of conversation, like nodding to encourage someone to continue speaking. Consider this situation. You're observing a panel discussion in English. One speaker, Sarah, is confidently presenting her argument. Her hands are open, palms facing slightly upwards, an open gesture, indicating transparency and receptivity. She uses broad, illustrative gestures to emphasize key points. Another speaker, David, mostly keeps his hands clasped behind his back or crosses his arms, a closed gesture, often indicating defensiveness or disagreement. He also frequently touches his chin, a common adapter indicating deep thought or evaluation. Your inner detective notices these contrasts. While Sarah's words and gestures align, David's body language suggests a more guarded or critical stance, even if his words are neutral. For English learners, observing these gestures helps you gauge a speaker's true disposition and confidence, enhancing your overall comprehension of a presentation or debate. By keenly observing these gestures, you're not only understanding unspoken meanings, but also expanding your intuitive grasp of how to use body language to complement your own English speech, making you a more effective and persuasive communicator. Ready to explore the invisible lines of personal space? Next, let's explore proxemics, the unseen boundaries of space. Proxemics refers to the study of the physical space between individuals and how this space influences communication. Every culture has unspoken rules about personal space, and violating these invisible bubbles can cause discomfort or even aggression. Your inner detective learns to recognize these spatial zones and how people react to their violation or respect. Intimate distance, 0 to 18 inches, reserved for close relationships, whispering. Personal distance, 1.5 to 4 feet, for friends and family, casual conversation. Social distance, 4 to 12 feet, for acquaintances, business interactions, group discussions. Public distance, 12 plus feet, for public speaking, formal interactions. Here's a story. You're at an international conference networking in English. You approach a group of people. One person from a culture with a larger personal space bubble, e.g. some Nordic or East Asian cultures, subtly steps back as you get closer to engage in conversation, maintaining a slightly larger distance than you might be used to. An untrained observer might take this as a sign of unfriendliness. However, your inner detective, aware of proxemics, recognizes it as a cultural norm, not personal rejection. This allows you to adjust your physical distance respectfully, ensuring comfortable and effective communication and demonstrating cultural sensitivity in an English-speaking environment. The world of nonverbal cues is endlessly fascinating. If you're eager to continue your journey as an inner detective and truly master nuanced English communication, click the link in the description to join our exclusive community for advanced learners. Beyond the basics, facial expressions and posture deep dive. While micro-expressions are fleeting, conscious facial expressions and overall posture also tell powerful stories. Your inner detective discerns. Genuine versus contrived smiles. A genuine, or Duchenne smile, involves the muscles around the eyes, crow's feet, as well as the mouth. A forced smile often only involves the mouth. Spotting the difference reveals true happiness or mere politeness. Asymmetry in expressions. An uneven smile or frown can indicate conflicting emotions or an attempt to mask true feelings. Posture. An open, relaxed posture usually signals confidence and receptiveness. A closed posture, crossed arms/legs, can indicate defensiveness, resistance, or discomfort. Slumped shoulders often point to sadness or low energy. Picture this. You're pitching a new product concept, in English, to a potential investor. As you present the financial projections, the investor nods and says, "Looks promising." However, your inner detective notices her smile doesn't quite reach her eyes, and her shoulders are slightly hunched forward, almost imperceptibly. This discrepancy between her words and her nonverbal cues suggests a guarded stance, perhaps skepticism hidden beneath polite professionalism. This observation prompts you to prepare for tougher questions or address potential concerns she might not be verbalizing. For English learners, understanding these subtle layers of feedback allows you to adjust your communication strategy on the fly, making your presentations far more impactful. Putting it all together, the cluster of cues. Crucially, your inner detective never relies on a single cue. A nervous fidget doesn't automatically mean deception. It could just mean nervousness. A lack of eye contact might be cultural, not a sign of dishonesty.
The true art of decoding nonverbal cues lies in observing clusters of cues, multiple signals occurring together that point to the same underlying emotion or intention. If someone avoids eye contact, fidgets, and their voice pitch is higher, that cluster of cues creates a much stronger, more reliable indicator of discomfort or potential falsehood than any single cue alone. This holistic approach strengthens your analytical skills both in observation and in understanding complex English interactions.
This multifaceted approach to decoding nonverbal cues is empowering, isn't it? As you integrate these techniques, you'll find your English conversations becoming richer, more meaningful, and far less prone to misunderstanding. Get ready to transform your listening skills next. By systematically training your awareness to register these intricate details in microexpressions, eye contact patterns, diverse gestures, subtle proxemics, and overall facial and body posture, you are building an incredibly powerful new lens through which to view the world. You are transcending mere observation. You are moving from simply reacting to superficial interactions to truly understanding the deeper, often hidden motivations, emotions, and intentions that drive complex human behavior. This comprehensive understanding isn't about judgment or manipulation. It's about cultivating genuine wisdom, fostering profound empathy, and enabling truly effective communication. And for you, the dedicated English learner, it's about unlocking a level of fluency and cultural understanding that extends far beyond grammatical rules and isolated vocabulary lists. It's about speaking and understanding English with authentic nuance, confidence, and connection in any real-world setting, making you a master of both language and human dynamics. Your inner detective is now armed with its most potent tools. Chapter 4. The Art of Active Listening Beyond Words. As your inner detective refines its visual prowess, deciphering the silent language of nonverbal cues, it's time to sharpen another, equally crucial tool in your arsenal: active listening. This goes far beyond merely hearing the words being spoken. Active listening is the art of truly engaging with the speaker, absorbing not just their explicit message, but also the nuances of their delivery, the patterns in their speech, and even the powerful unspoken implications embedded within their silences. For you, the English learner, mastering this art is like gaining access to a secret decoder ring for real-world English conversations, revealing layers of meaning that passive hearing would completely miss. Most people are, regrettably, passive listeners. They wait for their turn to speak, formulate their own responses while the other person is still talking, or simply filter information through their own biases and assumptions. This is hearing, not listening. An active listener, your inner detective, on the other hand, is fully present. They are attuned to the speaker's emotions, their underlying intentions, and the subtle cues that reveal what they truly mean, even if they aren't saying it directly. This deep level of engagement allows you to understand not just the what, but the why and the how. Consider a simple yet profound difference. Imagine your friend Sarah tells you, "I'm looking for a new job." A passive listener might simply respond, "Oh, good luck." But an active listener, your inner detective, might notice a slight sigh before the statement, a hesitant tone, or a brief downward glance. This prompts you to dig deeper. "You sound a little tired when you say that. Is there something about your current job that's really bothering you?" This isn't just listening, it's investigating with empathy, opening the door to a more meaningful conversation and allowing you to practice nuanced English inquiry. What if the most crucial parts of a conversation aren't in the words at all, but in the spaces between them, the way they are delivered, or even the things left unsaid? Are you ready to discover how to uncover these hidden truths?
One of the most powerful aspects of active listening is the ability to detect inconsistencies between verbal and nonverbal cues. We touched upon this in Chapter 2, but here we sharpen the focus specifically on how your ears, combined with your eyes, become truth detectors. A common scenario: someone says, "I'm perfectly happy with the outcome." Verbal, but their voice sounds strained, their facial muscles are tight, and they cross their arms. Nonverbal. Your inner detective immediately flags this as a contradiction. The words convey contentment, but the tone and body betray discomfort or even anger. This is where your deep listening skills come into play. Listening not just to the message, but to the messenger. Let's illustrate with a business example. During an English negotiation, the client states, "We are confident we can meet that deadline." Verbal message. However, you, as the active listener, notice a slight increase in their speaking speed, a subtle rise in pitch, and a tendency to clear their throat more often than usual. Paraverbal cues. Simultaneously, your keen visual observation, from Chapter 3, picks up on their slightly narrowed eyes and an unconscious tapping of their foot. This cluster of conflicting signals screams stress or doubt beneath the surface of their confident words. Your inner detective processes this rapidly and prompts you to gently probe. "I appreciate your confidence, but just to ensure alignment, could you walk us through the specific steps for hitting that timeline?" This doesn't accuse them of lying, but offers a chance for them to reveal their true challenges, turning a potential failure into a collaborative solution, all while practicing high-level English negotiation skills. Is this concept of listening beyond words resonating with you? If you're serious about unlocking deeper insights and supercharging your English, hit the like button and subscribe. Your support helps us create more content like this.
Beyond explicit contradictions, active listening also involves identifying common linguistic patterns that reveal underlying states. Fillers, e.g., like, While common in everyday speech, an increase in their usage, especially when discussing sensitive topics, can signal hesitation, nervousness, or a speaker searching for the right words because they're being evasive. For English learners, recognizing when native speakers use these helps you understand natural pauses in speech and avoid misinterpreting them as a complete lack of fluency. Qualifiers, e.g., kind of, sort of, maybe, I guess, just. These words soften statements, indicating uncertainty, a lack of commitment, or an attempt to downplay something. If your colleague says, "I just finished the report," the "just" might suggest they barely finished it, or it was more difficult than expected. Evasiveness or vagueness. When someone avoids direct answers, uses overly general terms, things, stuff, it, or abruptly changes the subject. This often happens when they are uncomfortable, don't want to commit, or are withholding information. For instance, if you ask an English-speaking friend about a conflict and they respond with, "Oh, things just got a little complicated," your inner detective notes the vagueness and understands they're not ready to disclose details. Repetition. When specific words, phrases, or even ideas are repeated, it can indicate emphasis, obsession, nervousness, or an attempt to convince themselves as much as you. If a salesperson keeps saying, "This is truly the best deal, the best you'll find," the repetition might hint at overcompensation, making your inner detective suspicious. Let's take a historical example. Imagine you're analyzing a famous speech. The speaker uses powerful words, but you notice an unusual number of pauses, or the pitch of their voice changes dramatically when they mention a specific opponent. Your inner detective asks, why the pause? What emotion is carried in that pitch change? This granular analysis reveals not just the message, but the emotional subtext and potential hidden agenda. For English learners, practicing this kind of auditory analysis with speeches or podcasts is invaluable. It trains your ear to the rhythm, intonation, and subtle cues that make English a rich language.
By actively listening for these subtle linguistic and paralinguistic patterns, you're transforming your English comprehension from a surface-level understanding into a profound grasp of real-world communication, preparing you for any nuanced conversation, even when discussing the subtle misjudgments of figures like Bill Gates. What other unspoken cues are vital? The power of silence, what's not being said. One of the most overlooked yet incredibly powerful elements of active listening is the strategic use or avoidance of silence. Silence can convey a myriad of meanings: agreement, disagreement, thoughtful consideration, anger, discomfort, or even deception. Your inner detective learns to interpret these silences within context. A long pause after a difficult question might indicate careful thought, or it might be a sign of someone scrambling for an excuse. Consider this. You ask an English-speaking colleague about a project deadline. There's a noticeable, uncomfortable silence before they finally say, "Yes, we're on track." That silence, that unexpected void, is a clue. It suggests internal hesitation, perhaps a problem they don't want to admit yet. Your inner detective knows that the most telling information often resides in these unarticulated moments. It's in these silences that you can subtly offer help. Is there anything blocking your team that I can help with? This demonstrates not just a grasp of English, but profound interpersonal skills. Is your inner detective buzzing with new insights? If you're passionate about becoming a master observer and supercharging your English fluency, share this video with a friend who might benefit too. Let's build a community of active learners. The holistic approach, weaving it all together. The true mastery of active listening, just like decoding nonverbal cues, lies in a holistic approach. It's never about isolating a single filler word or a lone instance of vagueness. It's about recognizing patterns and cross-referencing them with other observed elements. If someone uses many fillers and avoids eye contact, and their voice is higher pitched, that combination tells a much stronger, more consistent story of nervousness or potential deception. Your inner detective becomes a master synthesizer of information, combining what is seen and what is heard to form a complete picture of the speaker's true state. For English learners, this means watching interviews, debates, or even casual vlogs without relying solely on subtitles. Force yourself to listen for the vocal nuances, the moments of hesitation, the unspoken implications. Then try to summarize not just what was said, but how it was said, and what the speaker's body language suggested. This rigorous practice will not only refine your listening comprehension, but also significantly improve your pronunciation, intonation, and overall conversational fluency by mimicking native speech patterns. In conclusion, active listening is your inner detective's auditory superpower. By moving beyond passive hearing and deliberately tuning in to the subtle melodies of tone, the revealing patterns of word choice, and the profound implications of silence, you unlock a deeper understanding of human behavior. This skill doesn't just make you wiser, it makes you a more empathetic communicator, a more insightful decision maker, and crucially, a far more confident and nuanced English speaker capable of navigating the complexities of real-world interactions with unparalleled precision and understanding. The stage is set for you to become a true master of human behavior, beyond mere words.
Chapter 5. Context is King. Environment, Culture, and Dynamics. As your inner detective hones its ability to decipher microexpressions, interpret eye contact, categorize gestures, and understand proxemics, a crucial, often overlooked layer of observational mastery emerges: the absolute imperative of context. Without context, a single nonverbal cue or even a choice of words can be wildly misinterpreted, leading your deductions down a misleading path. Imagine a single piece of a jigsaw puzzle. It has little meaning until it's placed within the larger picture. For your inner detective, context is that larger picture: the environment, the cultural backdrop, and the dynamics of the relationship. For you, the English learner, this means moving beyond literal translation to truly grasp the implication and appropriateness of language in real-world scenarios. Why is context king? Because human behavior is rarely universal. A nod can mean yes in one culture, but no or come here in another. Crossing your arms might be defensiveness or simply cold. A loud voice could signify anger or just enthusiasm. Your inner detective needs a map, a framework to navigate these subtleties, understanding that every clue must be analyzed within its specific environment, cultural lens, and relationship dynamics. Failure to do so is like trying to read a book using only half the pages. You'll get fragments, but never the full story. What if a gesture that means good job in your culture is deeply offensive elsewhere? Or a friendly tone in one setting sounds aggressive in another? Stay with us to unlock the hidden rules of communication governed by context. Layer 1. Cultural context. The invisible rules of connection. Culture profoundly shapes how we communicate, both verbally and nonverbally. It dictates norms around personal space, eye contact, physical touch, and even emotional displays. What is polite in one culture can be disrespectful in another, and your inner detective must be culturally sensitive. Let's illustrate with a classic story. Consider the OK gesture, forming a circle with your thumb and forefinger. In most Western countries, like the US or UK, it universally signifies OK or good. However, if you use this same gesture in Brazil, Germany, or Russia, it can be interpreted as vulgar or offensive. In some Middle Eastern countries, it might even carry connotations of the evil eye. Your inner detective knows that simply observing the gesture isn't enough. You must also observe the cultural background of the person making it. For English learners engaging with global speakers, this is vital. You might hear an English speaker use a phrase or gesture that makes perfect sense in their cultural context, but if you don't grasp that context, you could misinterpret their meaning entirely, or even offend them unknowingly. This level of cultural awareness is what elevates your English comprehension from merely understanding words to truly understanding people. Another common cultural difference lies in eye contact. In Western business settings, direct and sustained eye contact often signals honesty, confidence, and engagement. However, in many East Asian, Middle Eastern, and Latin American cultures, prolonged direct eye contact, especially with a superior or elder, can be seen as a sign of disrespect, defiance, or aggression. Conversely, avoiding eye contact in these cultures might be a sign of respect or deference, not deceit or shyness. Imagine you're leading an international team meeting in English. A team member from Japan consistently avoids direct eye contact. An unobservant leader might think they're disengaged or hiding something. Your inner detective, however, recognizes this as a culturally ingrained sign of respect and humility, allowing you to interpret their silent contributions accurately and foster trust within your diverse team. Are these cultural nuances surprising to you? If you're passionate about understanding diverse communication styles and mastering truly global English, hit the like button and share this video with your international friends. Layer 2. Environmental context. The stage affects the play. The physical environment in which communication occurs dramatically impacts how people behave and what their cues signify. Your inner detective must always consider the setting. Is it a formal boardroom or a casual coffee shop? A crowded public space or a private, intimate setting? The same cue can mean drastically different things. Think about volume and tone of voice. A loud, boisterous tone might be perfectly acceptable and even expected at a lively party or a sporting event. However, that same tone used in a quiet library or a solemn funeral would be considered highly inappropriate and disrespectful. Your inner detective understands that the environmental stage dictates the appropriate performance. Another scenario. During a job interview conducted in English in a quiet office, a candidate speaks softly. This might suggest shyness or lack of confidence. But if that same soft voice is used in a noisy open-plan office during a casual chat, it might be a conscious effort to avoid disturbing others or simply their natural volume in that environment. Observing the setting allows you to make more accurate deductions. Let's consider an example of proxemics, personal space, within environmental context. In a crowded subway train, people are forced into intimate personal space, often maintaining rigid body posture and avoiding eye contact to manage discomfort. This behavior is normal for the environment. However, if two colleagues maintain the same extreme close proximity and body rigidity in a spacious, empty office, your inner detective would immediately flag this as unusual, potentially indicating tension or an unusual power dynamic. For English learners, adapting your speaking volume, intonation, and even physical distance to suit different environments, e.g. a formal presentation versus a casual group discussion, is a key aspect of sounding natural and appropriate. Understanding how environment shapes communication isn't just about observation, it's about mastering your own adaptable English communication style. Stay tuned for how relationship dynamics add another layer of complexity to your detective work. Layer 3, Relationship Dynamics. Who are you talking to? The nature of the relationship between communicators fundamentally alters how cues are sent and received. You behave differently with your boss than with your best friend, or with a stranger versus a family member. Your inner detective must always ask, what is the existing power dynamic? What is the level of trust and intimacy? Consider a CEO speaking to an entry-level employee in English. The employee might nod frequently, maintain consistent eye contact, and use formal language, yes sir, absolutely ma'am, even if they disagree internally. Their body language and word choice might convey deference and compliance. Now, imagine that same CEO speaking to a long-time trusted advisor. The advisor might challenge ideas more openly, use more relaxed body language, and employ informal language, even interrupting occasionally. The cues are vastly different because the relationship dynamics have changed. Your inner detective understands that deference, informality, or even subtle forms of rebellion are often products of the relationship, not necessarily universal traits. This is especially crucial for navigating workplace dynamics and understanding unspoken hierarchies, which are often subtle in English-speaking professional settings. An employee might use phrases like, "I'll look into it," qualifier, when asked to do something they don't want to, but the tone and lack of direct commitment are only truly understood when you realize their subordinate position in the company. Their words are polite, but their underlying intent is evasive. Is your understanding of human behavior expanding? If you're enjoying learning to unravel these complex layers and enhance your English fluency, please share this video with someone who values true understanding. Avoiding common pitfalls, the inner detective's cautionary tales. As your inner detective grows more skilled, it's vital to be aware of common biases and pitfalls that can lead to misinterpretations. Confirmation bias, the tendency to interpret new evidence as confirmation of one's existing beliefs or theories. If you believe someone is untrustworthy, you might unconsciously look for and overinterpret cues that confirm that belief, even if contradictory evidence exists. Fundamental attribution error, the tendency to overemphasize personality-based explanations for observed behaviors while underemphasizing the role and power of situational influences. If someone is quiet in a meeting, you might assume they are shy, personality trait, rather than considering they might be new, intimidated by the environment, or simply deep in thought, situational. Overinterpretation of single cues. Never, ever rely on just one cue. A person scratching their nose doesn't automatically mean they're lying. It could be an itch. Always look for clusters of cues across all three layers: body language, tone, and word choice, and crucially, within their context. This brings us back to the story of Bill Gates from our previous series. His $400 billion mistake wasn't solely about missing a technology. It was a monumental failure of contextual observation.
They observed mobile devices, but interpreted them through the lens of their existing PC empire and Windows Everywhere philosophy. They failed to grasp the new context of a mobile-first world, the changing dynamics of user needs, simplicity, apps over desktop functionality, and the emerging cultural shift towards ubiquitous connectivity. Their inner detective was wearing the wrong glasses, unable to see the true nature of the small sailboats that were Android and iPhone. This lack of contextual understanding in a rapidly changing environment led to an epic misjudgment. For English learners, understanding this failure to adapt is a powerful lesson in critically evaluating information and avoiding assumptions, vital for both life and language. You can watch our full Bill Gates analysis in the suggested video that just popped up, or find the link in the description to dive deeper into how even the brightest minds can miss context. The lessons from Gates's mistake and our journey into observational mastery prove that true wisdom comes from seeing the whole picture. By avoiding these common pitfalls, you're becoming a more astute observer and a more sophisticated English communicator. What's next in your journey to mastery? In conclusion, for your inner detective, context is not merely a background detail, it is the very framework that gives meaning to every observed clue. By diligently considering the cultural nuances, environmental settings, and relationship dynamics, you move beyond superficial judgments to cultivate a profound, nuanced understanding of human behavior. This comprehensive approach empowers you to interpret communication with unprecedented accuracy, building stronger relationships, making wiser decisions, and fundamentally making you a far more perceptive and effective English speaker. You will not only understand what is said, but what is felt, what is implied, and what truly drives the interaction. Your inner detective's map is now complete.
Chapter 6: Practical Tools and Ethical Wisdom. As your inner detective now understands the intricate layers of human behavior, from the micro-expressions on a face to the cultural context of an interaction, it's time to equip you with the practical tools and techniques to sharpen your observational skills in real time. This isn't about theory anymore, it's about actionable steps you can take today. But alongside these powerful tools comes a vital responsibility, the ethical wisdom to use your newfound abilities constructively with respect and empathy. For English learners, these practical exercises are your direct pathway to natural, confident fluency as you observe, interpret, and internalize real-world language use. Tool 1. Spotting and Noting, the Quick Scan. This is your baseline exercise. As you interact with people or observe from a distance, practice a quick mental spot and note exercise. Focus on one specific nonverbal cue at a time for a few seconds. For example, during your morning commute, spot every instance of someone touching their face. Note the context. Are they nervous, thoughtful, or simply scratching an itch? When listening to an English podcast or watching a show, spot for filler words like or like. Note when they appear. Are they used during hesitation or as a natural part of speech? This micro-focus trains your brain to pick up subtle details without overwhelming you. Consider a scenario. You're at an English networking event. Instead of trying to analyze everything, pick one focus. I'm going to observe hand gestures. You might notice one person using expansive, open gestures while another keeps their hands tucked in their pockets. You're not judging, you're just spotting and noting. This simple act builds your observational muscle. How often do you think we miss critical details just because we're trying to take in too much at once? What if breaking down observation into smaller, manageable steps could unlock far greater insights? Tool 2. The Silent Movie Exercise, Focusing on Nonverbal Dominance. This is a powerful training technique. Watch short video clips, 5 to 10 seconds, of people interacting, but without sound.
Try to deduce the conversation's emotional tone, the relationships, or even the general topic based solely on their body language, facial expressions, and movements. Is it an argument, a playful chat, or a serious discussion? Then re-watch with sound to verify your deductions. This trains your inner detective to prioritize nonverbal cues. For English learners, this is an exceptional exercise. After you've mastered interpreting the silent movie, try to guess what they might be saying in English before you turn on the sound, enhancing your predictive listening and contextual vocabulary. Let's imagine you're watching a scene from an English TV show. Two characters are sitting opposite each other. Without sound, you notice one character's shoulders are slumped, their eyes are downcast, and their hand is clasped over their mouth. The other character is leaning forward, nodding slowly with furrowed brows. Your inner detective might deduce this is a somber, empathetic conversation. Perhaps one person is confessing something difficult and the other is listening supportively. Turning on the sound in English confirms it. I don't know what to do anymore, followed by, it's okay, take your time. This exercise directly translates to real-life English conversations where background noise or accents might obscure words, but non-verbal cues remain clear. Are you ready to level up your observation skills and English fluency? Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Your support helps us create more transformative content for our community. Tool 3. The unheard conversation, listening for what isn't said. This tool refines your active listening. During English conversations, pay attention not just to the words, but to the pauses, the silences, the abrupt topic shifts, and the questions left unanswered. If someone says, "I'm excited about this project," but there's a prolonged, awkward pause before they say it, your inner detective flags that pause. Why the hesitation? What are they not saying? This is especially useful in formal English settings like interviews or negotiations where politeness can mask underlying issues. Consider a project update meeting in English. Your manager asks, "Is the marketing campaign ready for launch next week?" Your team member, Sarah, looks at her notes, hesitates for a noticeable 2 seconds, then replies, "Yes, we are on track." Your inner detective notes that significant pause. It's a clue. It suggests a potential hurdle or an unstated concern. Later, you might follow up privately. "Sarah, I noticed you paused before confirming the marketing launch. Is there anything I can help with?" This shows perceptive leadership and allows you to practice empathetic English follow-up questions. Tool 4. The context checker, questioning your assumptions. Whenever you make a deduction based on observation, immediately run it through your context checker. Ask yourself, is this behavior culturally specific? Is it influenced by the environment? What is the relationship dynamic? For example, if someone doesn't make eye contact, your first thought might be shy or deceptive. But your inner detective's context checker immediately prompts, is this person from a culture where direct eye contact is disrespectful? Or are they in a subordinate position where avoiding eye contact is a sign of deference? This practice helps you avoid ethnocentric biases and hasty conclusions, making your observations more accurate and your English interpretations culturally sensitive. Let's revisit our earlier discussion on Bill Gates. His $400 billion mistake was a prime example of failing to use a context checker. Microsoft observed mobile devices, but interpreted them through the lens of their PC-centric world. They failed to grasp the new context of user behavior, mobile-first, app-driven, the changing dynamics of user needs, simplicity, apps over desktop functionality, and the emerging cultural shift towards ubiquitous connectivity. Their inner detective was wearing the wrong glasses, unable to see the true nature of the small sailboats that were Android and iPhone. This lack of contextual understanding in a rapidly changing environment led to an epic misjudgment. This historical example reinforces why your contextual understanding is paramount, not just for personal interactions, but for strategic decision-making in any field. The ability to apply contextual filters to your observations is a mark of true wisdom. By integrating these tools, you're not just observing, you're becoming a sophisticated analyst of human behavior and mastering the real-world application of English. Ready to discuss the ethics?
Ethical wisdom. The responsible observer. With great power comes great responsibility. Your ability to observe and deduce human behavior is powerful, and it must be wielded ethically. Your inner detective is a tool for understanding, not for manipulation or judgment. Respect privacy. Do not use your skills to intrude on private moments or to gather information for malicious purposes. Observation is about general patterns and understanding, not spying. Avoid judgment. Your goal is to understand, not to condemn. A nervous fidget doesn't make someone a bad person, it makes them a nervous person. Suspending judgment allows for more accurate and empathetic interpretations. Confirm, don't conclude. Your observations are clues, not definitive truths. Use them to form hypotheses, then seek verbal confirmation or further evidence. For instance, if you observe a colleague is stressed, cluster of cues, you don't accuse them. You might empathetically ask, "You seem to have a lot on your plate lately. Is everything all right?" This invites them to open up if they choose. Empathy as your guide. The ultimate purpose of observation is to foster deeper empathy and connection. By understanding why someone might be behaving a certain way, you can respond with greater compassion and effectiveness, building stronger relationships in both your personal and professional life. This empathy, when expressed in English, elevates your communication beyond mere words to genuine human connection. If you're committed to becoming a truly wise and ethical observer and to using these skills to advance your English fluency, share your favorite tip from this chapter in the comments below. We love hearing from our community. By consistently practicing these practical tools and adhering to these ethical guidelines, you are not just becoming a keen observer, you are evolving into a wise and empathetic individual. Your inner detective will become an invaluable asset, allowing you to navigate complex social landscapes, build deeper relationships, and make more informed decisions. For you, the English learner, these practical exercises seamlessly integrate language acquisition with real-world understanding. You're not just learning English words, you're learning the unspoken language of culture, emotion, and human interaction, making you truly fluent and confident in any English-speaking environment. This prepares you for the ultimate transformation we'll discuss next. Chapter 7. Your transformation. Wiser, more confident, fluent. We have reached the culmination of our profound journey, a transformation from merely seeing the world to truly understanding it. You began this journey as an everyday observer, perhaps missing subtle cues, feeling unsure in social interactions, or struggling to grasp the deeper meanings in English conversations. But now you are emerging as an accomplished inner detective, equipped with an extraordinary superpower, the art of discerning observation. This final chapter isn't just a summary, it's a celebration of your metamorphosis, detailing the immense interconnected benefits you've unlocked, and solidifying how these skills seamlessly enhance your journey towards true English fluency and unwavering confidence. Recall the bustling coffee shop from Chapter 1. Where you once saw only people, your trained eye now discerns the barista's subtle signs of fatigue, the unspoken affection in a couple's shared glance, or the hidden impatience of a business executive. You've learned to differentiate between seeing and observing, recognizing that the richest data often lies beyond the spoken word. In Chapter 2, we armed you with the foundational elements, the expressive power of body language, the emotional music of tone of voice, and the revealing nuances of word choice.
You've mastered recognizing these core layers. Then, in Chapter 3, you delved into the intricate world of nonverbal cues, becoming adept at spotting fleeting microexpressions, interpreting the silent stories told by eye contact, understanding the vast vocabulary of gestures, and respecting the unseen boundaries of proxemics. You practiced the silent movie exercise, learning to read entire narratives without uttering a single word. In Chapter 4, you refined your active listening skills, moving beyond merely hearing to truly absorbing the unheard conversations. You learned to identify patterns in speech, detect inconsistencies between verbal and nonverbal signals, and even interpret the profound meanings embedded within silence. Finally, Chapter 5 instilled in you the paramount importance of context, recognizing that environment, culture, and relationship dynamics are the vital lenses through which all observations must be filtered, helping you avoid misinterpretations and biases. We even revisited Bill Gates' monumental mistake, not just as a historical event, but as a vivid lesson in the dire consequences of failing to observe changing contexts. In Chapter 6, we equipped you with practical tools like spotting and noting and the context checker, along with the crucial ethical wisdom to use your powers for empathy and understanding, not judgment or manipulation. Looking back at your journey through these chapters, which specific observational skill do you feel has most significantly changed your perspective on daily interactions? And how has this newfound awareness already begun to transform your English learning process? The cumulative impact of mastering these skills is nothing short of transformative. You are no longer a passive passenger in your interactions, you are the astute navigator, charting a course through the complexities of human behavior. Enhanced communication. You now possess an unparalleled ability to communicate effectively. You don't just speak, you connect. You understand unspoken needs, anticipate reactions, and tailor your messages to truly resonate. Imagine delivering a presentation in English and reading the subtle cues from your audience. A confused frown, a nodding head, or a shifting posture. You can adjust your explanation on the fly, ensuring your message lands perfectly. Deeper relationships. Your personal connections will flourish. By understanding and absorbing the nuanced emotions of friends, family, and colleagues, you can offer more genuine empathy, build stronger bonds of trust, and navigate conflicts with greater wisdom. Your ability to pick up on a friend's hidden stress, even when they say "I'm fine," allows you to be a truly supportive presence, going beyond superficial pleasantries. Wiser decisions. In professional settings, your observations become invaluable intelligence. You can better assess a job candidate's true character, detect a hidden agenda in a negotiation, or gauge the genuine buy-in of your team members. This profound understanding of human dynamics translates directly into more informed, strategic, and ultimately wiser decisions, both in business and in life. Just as Bill Gates learned the hard way about missed market shifts, you're now equipped to spot critical human shifts. Increased confidence. Perhaps most importantly, you will feel a profound increase in self-confidence. The world will no longer feel like an unpredictable maze. Instead, you'll see it as a complex yet decipherable puzzle. This confidence will empower you to step into any social situation, any negotiation, any English conversation, knowing you possess the tools to understand and connect meaningfully.
Your journey to mastery doesn't end here. To continue refining these powerful observation skills and to keep boosting your English fluency, make sure you've subscribed to our channel and hit the notification bell. And for you, the dedicated English learner, this journey has been a parallel path to true linguistic mastery. You've moved beyond the confines of grammar rules and vocabulary lists, important as they are, to grasp the living, breathing essence of the English language. Nuanced comprehension. You now understand English not just literally, but contextually and emotionally.
You can distinguish genuine enthusiasm from polite obligation, sarcasm from sincerity, and underlying discomfort from verbal agreement, all by decoding the rich interplay of tone, body language, and subtle word choice. Natural fluency. Your own English communication will become more authentic and impactful. By observing how native speakers use intonation to convey meaning, how they use gestures to emphasize points, and how they navigate social distances, you will naturally begin to mimic these patterns. This isn't just about sounding correct, it's about sounding natural and confident, making your English truly connect with others. Remember our 30-day confidence through shadowing series? Pairing that mimicking practice with your enhanced observation skills will accelerate your fluency exponentially, allowing you to not just say words, but truly feel and express them like a native speaker. The series link is still in the description, a perfect next step for your English journey. Cultural dexterity. You've gained a critical understanding of how culture shapes communication. This insight makes you a more sensitive and effective global communicator in English, avoiding misunderstandings and building rapport across diverse backgrounds. You'll intuitively know when to make direct eye contact and when to be more reserved based on the cultural cues you've learned to observe. Imagine confidently walking into any English conversation, knowing you can understand not just the words, but the true meaning behind them. This isn't a dream, it's the reality you've built by becoming an inner detective. Ready for your final call to action? The wisdom you've cultivated, the empathy you've deepened, and the confidence you've forged are now indelible parts of who you are. Your inner detective is not just a role you play, it's a fundamental shift in how you perceive and interact with the world. This journey towards mastering human behavior is continuous. There are always more layers to uncover, more nuances to grasp. But you now possess the foundational tools and the mindset to keep growing, learning, and expanding your understanding. You are no longer just seeing the world, you are truly observing it. You are not just hearing English words, you are deciphering the complex symphony of human communication. And in doing so, you are becoming a wiser, more perceptive, and undeniably more confident human being, ready to navigate any challenge and build deeper connections, all while speaking English with unparalleled fluency and insight. Your transformation is complete, but your learning journey never ends. If you're ready to put these powerful observation skills into practice and continue to supercharge your English fluency, then leave a comment below. Share the single biggest insight you gained from this entire series, or a specific way you plan to use your new inner detective skills. Your stories inspire others. Like this video, show your appreciation for this in-depth guide. Share it with someone. Help a friend become a wiser observer and a more confident English speaker. Subscribe to the channel. Don't miss our next deep dive into human psychology, success strategies, and advanced English learning techniques. Hit the bell icon to stay notified. Thank you for being part of this incredible journey. Keep observing, keep learning, and keep growing.